What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk again about the Gears 5 ending. I want to talk about its push to set up Gears 6 and if, was the whole campaign kind of just designed to set up a Gears 6? I kind of want to have an in-depth discussion to those kind of features for Gears. Now, here's the deal. We're going to be talking a little bit about spoilers, obviously, for Gears 5. So if you guys don't want to know what happens and, just to steer clear of spoilers and obviously turn away now. But, I hinted at this in the video I made last week. I talked about if the ending felt lazy, rushed, and funny enough, after I made that video, when I recorded, not even when it was up, I was on Twitter, and I saw a lot of people say the exact same thing. Not necessarily word for word, but I saw a lot of people saying, Gears 5 is really, really good. Something I have been saying and I have been pushing for weeks. Like, Gears 5, everything looks good about it. But, man, that third act, okay, the ending of the Gears 5 campaign is very, very bad. I've seen that countless times, and so I don't think it's just me thinking this. And now, it does hurt. And I talked about in that video, does the last half an hour of a game, can that make or break the entire game? I don't necessarily think so, but obviously the ending, the whole, major ending to anything, a show, a movie, anything, a game, it's not necessarily make or break, but it's pretty darn close. I'd say acts are more indicative if you're going to hurt something or help something. So the third act, let's say the last 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever, however you want to space it out, that is what can hurt or help anything. And in this case, it is just very, very weak. And in terms of the very, very end of the game, the last 30 to 40 minutes, to me, not just lazy and rushed. And because I already talked about that, I already made that video, and that's what it feels like. But did it push Gears 6 too hard? And I wanted to lay off of it and to kind of take a day to think about it because I said in that video, I don't necessarily want to say, was it pushing a Gears 6 or was it sole purpose to make a Gears 6 and to shove it in your throat and say, we're going to get to this in the next game? Is it too blatant? Because I think a lot of entertainment things in general do that now. We're in the age of sequels. We're in the ages of remakes. We're in the ages of live action remakes when it comes to Disney, repeating the same thing over and over, recasting, rebooting, but same properties. We're in and again, sequels. You get something, whether it be a TV show, movie, or game, and the whole purpose is to get the next one. And in order to do that, the first one or the one that comes before it has to do well enough. And so I didn't want to pick on it too much because I feel like everybody does this, but you can do it, better or worse. It depends on the circumstances. And to me, this seems like just a really bad, a scenario. This seems like a really bad example of a game that's doing this. There's loads of games that obviously, there's going to be sequels. And it's tough. Microsoft, in my opinion, doesn't have enough single-player, story-driven games like this to really make the comparison of. But so let's, I guess you could look at Halo. Halo does a decent enough job where any game could technically be the last, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, and obviously it really never will be. So Halo does it decently well. I really am more comfortable talking about Sony games, PlayStation games. PlayStation is my primary console, and I have a lot of their exclusives. When you look at them, they, in my opinion, they don't force it down your throat as much. You look at a game maybe even like The Last of Us, and yeah, we're getting a part 2, we're getting a second game, but there was huge debate after The Last of Us of, is that game it? It doesn't need a sequel. Naughty Dog even said, we're only coming back if we absolutely think we should make another one. And really, the game ended off where it's like, you don't need. It really kind of caps its story. The Uncharted games, for the most part, the Uncharted games really end themselves every single time where that's it. And I don't think it's by any coincidence that that's also Naughty Dog. But you look at other games, Spider-Man, the 2018 Spider-Man, yeah, we know it's part of a bigger world, but it doesn't have to lead to other things. You look at a game like God of War. Many, many people said that was their game of the year for 2018, one of the best games of the current console generation. And that game, yeah, the after credit scenes teases what's to come, and really the ending of the game kind of teases this mythological stuff, like what could happen to Kratos and this and that. There's points and there's like hints at the next game, but it doesn't say like we're gonna solve this in the next one, and like blatantly like that. So again, and there's hundreds more examples on the other side of things of games that just say like we're doing the next one. And Gears, to me, introducing, obviously, like we said, like the Queen Reina, the whole game is setting up you as the main character potentially being the villain, and then when that doesn't happen, you awaken the true villain. And then she really doesn't do much. She kills one of your friends that you ultimately choose which one lives or dies, and then she pretty much pieces out, and she'll be back in the next game, and it just ends with like, we're gonna go find her, and destroy her before she destroys us. Pretty cookie cutter, pretty lazy, pretty rushed, pretty like, all right, well, we did enough in this game. We've established some characters. We've, the main protagonist, she was introduced in the last game, but now she's the main character, and we've boosted her up a little bit. We got a nice supporting cast. We've blown up some things. We've gotten some enemies, but now, that's what this was for. Now we're going to get to that main character we introduced. We'll get to her next game. And that's one of the, that just keeps coming back to me and keeps like, and I keep talking about it. I know it sounds maybe like I'm repeating myself, but I honestly feel like that's a big problem. It's pretty bad when you introduce a kind of be-all villain. Not necessarily a be-all, but just like a top-level villain. It's pretty bad when you introduce them, or not even introduce, but like have them in your game talking about and showing them and doing something, and then it's like, well, they're the main thing for the next game. They're not even that important to your current game. Whenever that happens in terms of gaming, if a movie does that, if a movie introduces a blockbuster, and it's not like Thanos at the end. Okay, that's not really what I'm talking about. It's like if Thanos showed up and did something pretty cool and like was touted as like, this is the thing, and it's like, well, we'll get to him next movie. And they do that all within the last 30 minutes of the movie before. But then they still say in Avengers 2, they defeat Ultron and all that stuff, but right before they defeat Ultron, they do the Thanos thing, and then Thanos leaves, and then they defeat Ultron, a much less menacing villain, and then they'll get to Thanos in the next one. That sounds like a pretty awful idea, doesn't it? And that's honestly what Gears 5 does. So it's tough, and again, I didn't want to bag on it too much last week because I kind of wanted to think about it a little bit more. But the more I think about it, the more it's like, no, yeah, I agree that a lot of mediums in entertainment and a lot of properties do try to set up the next thing, especially TV shows, especially if you know that there's seasons. They'll obviously set up the next season. But for Gears, Gears 5, I don't know. I don't necessarily want them to guarantee me a Gears 6. And here's the thing, if I'm a Gears fan, maybe I do. If I'm a bigger Gears fan, maybe I do. Like with Uncharted, obviously I would prefer, Uncharted's my favorite game franchise ever. I would prefer they set up or they make me know that there will for sure be another game because I just want more of it. But at the same time, the developer can tell you afterwards that that's going to happen. That's ultimately and honestly why I think I love The Last of Us, and what happened with that so much is that game was such an amazing game, and then it really ended. It's like, man, are they going to continue it? Is it going to be Joel and Ellie? They could do a different cast. It doesn't have to be them. And then that sat for a while, for like a couple years, like a year and a half, until Naughty Dog finally said, okay, we're going to make The Last of Us Part 2. And that was their confirmation, and I didn't need that in the game. That didn't help or hurt the game itself. And I got that information just from the internet, and now I'm excited for the second game. So for Gears, why couldn't it have ended in a pleasing fashion? And it's like, well, maybe there could be a 6, maybe there doesn't have to be. And then they can, Coalition, they can just tell us that they'll make a Gears 6. That's fine. That's okay. And that's ultimately, I think, what I was kind of looking for from this is like, yeah, Halo and Gears are their two biggest things, Microsoft. Going into the next gen, you assume that they're going to keep them alive. We know Halo is launching with the next gen. Gears, you expect there to be a Gears 6 on next gen. So we know that's going to happen, but the game doesn't have to be so blatantly obvious to tell us like, oh, join us in 3 years where we're back for the Xbox Scarlet for Gears 6. Like, it doesn't need to do that. So that's pretty much it. There's good ways to set up what's to come, and there's bad ways. And a lot of entertainment things do it. Some do it good, some don't do it good. I think Gears 5 is an example of doing it very, very bad. But that's just my opinion. And if you like the Gears 5 ending, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. That's great. I think Gears 5 overall is a really good game. I don't think the ending is good, but I think overall the game is really, really solid. Something to build off of absolutely for the next one. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Did you like the Gears ending? Did you not? And what do you think about kind of its blatant setup of the next Gears? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And we're doing a game giveaway of Gears 5. If you guys didn't know, we're giving away Gears 5 on our channel completely for free. So if you guys are interested, or if you guys know anybody that wants this game, definitely send them our way, or just win it for them. Try and do that. And you can find that all on our channel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.